and we'll address those at the end. You go to the top of your screen and click on the chat box to get the chat box to appear. You will ask questions verbally during the Q&A period if you prefer. Is what's new on the web, keeping your practice website up to date. And we have Karen Baroche here to present for us today. Karen is the principal of Highland Group, a developer of medical websites and practice marketing programs. In 2000, their clients include 700 medical practices, hospitals, practice manager associations, dental practices, and medical product suppliers. They have developed and currently maintain market-leading online physician directories in several cities and have presented programs to various regional and national healthcare associations. She has a clinical background, having spent 11 years on staff at a Chicago area community hospital prior to the startup of the Highland Group. She is a spokesperson for her firm in many newspaper articles and on NBC TV, and manages the sales and customer service departments for the company. Thank you for presenting for us today, Ken. You can go ahead and get started.
Okay, Jessica. Welcome, everyone. And again, as Jessica pointed out, my name is Carolyn Barouche, and I am one of the owners of the Highland Group, and we do specialize in medical website design. I'd like to thank you all for attending today, and hopefully you'll leave here knowing more than what you do now about what's new out there on the web. As she pointed out, I will have time at the end for any questions. We certainly understand that you, as practice managers, are doing all that you can to just keep up with the operation of your practice. You don't have time to know what's going on in the medical website industry. So you're out there keeping your practice up to date in every imaginable way. Hopefully, allow me today to teach you a few things about how to make your website is also kept up to date. I'm not sure what stage, obviously, that you're in with your websites, but will be useful information whether your site is out of date and needing some help, or whether you don't have a website at all, possibly, or maybe your website's just fine, but you know that there are things happening new all the time, and you want to make sure you're keeping up to date. All those things are great. And yourself, look at websites. I'm sure that you have certain expectations and opinions on how they look and how they work, and you form immediate impressions, too, on the company's website that you're looking at, good or bad. And just keep in mind that the people viewing your website don't just look at medical websites, but just like you, they're out there looking at all kinds of websites all the time, and this is really what they're comparing your website to. Okay, and it's not going. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, well, back in the old days, which in web talk wasn't really that long ago, but everybody was really starting out looking at websites just on desktop computers. Websites were designed really take advantage of larger monitors all the time. As monitors got built larger and larger, web designers kept building websites to fit those screens. So that's kind of how things went for a long time. As you know, in the computer world, things change all the time. The online world these days is getting much smaller now, actually a lot smaller. More phones now sold than computers, and that actually happened 3 years ago. So I'm sure, excuse me, the ratio is just growing constantly. Tablets are also well on their way to taking over the majority of computer sales. Analysts are actually predicting that the decline and disappearance of large format computing is going to happen for the average computer user. Now, it's hard to imagine a world without our desktop computers, and they probably won't go away for everyone. But again, this for the average user, that more and more people are going to phones and tablets to use the internet. At the time, you have this great big beautiful website out there. At most websites on a smartphone, this is what you see. You know that you're on the right website. I know my 12-year-old can read this, but I would venture that most of you can't, and I certainly cannot. So viewers have to zoom in to get a lot closer to be able to read that text. Okay, so that's better. Now you can read it. Only a little small piece of that website is on the screen. So you have to start scrolling. You got to scroll up and down. You got to scroll right and left. Pretty soon I start getting dizzy. You lose your place on this website while you're scrolling all over looking for the information you need. You might miss the information you need or the links to other pages. I know I do that all the time, and finding your way back to the home page is almost impossible. So it's too hard to read or navigate your site. What is the user going to do? They're going to go back to the search engine and find a better option. Fortunately, that might be one of your competitors' websites. Obviously, someday this is going to be there will be a response to any website that really can't be easily viewed on a phone or tablet. I mean, why'd anybody suffer through scrolling all over this website and getting lost when they can go back and find a different one that works much better for them? Getting someone to find and click on your website is enough, but the real goal really is to make it easy for them to get the information they need once they get there. You want them to get past your home page no matter what size device they're looking on. Same website for the same purpose, how much you need an upgrade. You see an introductory paragraph at the top. You still see main navigation. Is usually, what you are really looking for, and it's in the opening frame. It's very legible. It's very easy to access. Let's look at a little bit more. Okay, so each section of the same website fits into your phone or your tablet perfectly. It actually knows what size the viewer's device is. It will rearrange and resize to fit that device. Scrolling is always just limited to up and down. We're going to have to scroll side to side. And the navigation bar often becomes a drop-down menu, which would allow the viewer to find the pages they want without that bar taking up so much space and obviously not having to scroll around looking for it. We wouldn't necessarily want our websites to look like this on our desktops, but again, most people are going to phones and tablets, so this is how they're going to see their website, and it looks great. The great thing about this is that you don't have to have separate sites built. This type of website works on everything, desktop, laptop, tablet, phone, everything. So rather than paying a designer to design a whole separate site for you, which some people do that, just for phones, you may have seen a little link on websites that say click here for mobile version. That means it's a separate site that was built just to be seen on the phone. But this site actually, like I said, can adjust itself and automatically rebuild itself. I think that's kind of amazing. Anyway, this type of website that I've been talking about is called a responsive design website. Really by far the latest and biggest idea to hit the internet. There will be a time when every site you look at will be responsive. The old ones will start to look like dinosaurs. So the question you're going to ask a web designer is, do you build responsive websites? And I can't think of a reason why anyone would want to stay with the old and flexible format, and certainly your viewers don't. So they're going to be looking for that new format. And that brings us to the next section. You have this gorgeous site now that looks good anywhere on any device. So let's look at how you can be in control of your website. From a history of commercial websites, a web designer not only had to build your site in the first place, but they also were the one to make all the changes in the future. And in processes that cost money and take time are usually those that get pushed off to the side eventually. And why so many websites are completely out of date. Site management website is a website that gives you the ability to make your own updates to the site's content, the text, and the photos. You can make these updates whenever you want, as often as you want, and it's really pretty simple. It's very similar to working in a Word document. You don't need to be intimidated by, oh my gosh, I'm not a web designer, I can't do this. It's quite simple to work in this format and make your own changes. And if you're tired sometimes of waiting for things to get updated on your website, you know, sometimes things need to be changed right now. Maybe weather, if it caused your office to close, or a sudden flu vaccine availability that you want to make sure people know about. Maybe a doctor just left your practice and you want to get in there pretty quick to get that off of your website. And your designer shouldn't take long to make those changes for you, but you'd be surprised what we hear from people sometimes. Or you wouldn't if you have one of those designers. And it's also hard, I think, and I would think you would too, that to really explain to someone else exactly what you want to say about your practice and exactly how it should look. There can be so many back and forth phone calls and emails, just trying to get your designer to understand what you want it to look like, what you envision. Like, no, we wanted this over here. No, that's just not quite right. Couldn't you make that a little bigger or the font different? You know, and like with most things, sometimes it's just easier to do it yourself. Perhaps most of all, tired of getting an invoice every time you need a little change made to your website. All compelling reasons to make sure your website is a content management site. Content management sites, and we call them CMS. I know that term is used for other things too, but just to shorten that a little, the site's not just a passing fad. There's over 11 million CMS websites out there that are built just by using the top 3 programs alone, and there's more than that. Content management allows a tremendous variety of graphic styles. Did you know now there are over 4,000 designs available, and there's being added every day. CMS template design is an emerging internet growth market. Designers are coming online in huge numbers all over the world to work in this program. Design really can be completely customized with logo, your images, your choice of colors, and of course your content. So though the CMS is based on a template design style, there's really so many to choose from, and they're so customizable that really your site can still look unique and not at all have that cookie-cutter design look that you've probably seen. And CMS sites also offer hundreds of extensions that can broaden the functionality of your website. Just to name a few, because there's literally hundreds, but some of the more popular ones. Most of the CMS templates can have a homepage slideshow of photos that rotate. And it used to be that designers had to use Flash animation for this feature, which was incredibly expensive to add into your site. With the CMS templates, the slideshow is just part of that with absolutely no extra charge. You can get a foreign language translator, also no additional charge, where you can, with the click button, change your entire website into a different language. Which, you know, in certain parts of the country, very, very important these days. You can have a function built into your website where the viewer just types the word of the topic they're looking for, and it'll show them any pages. I've all used search functions, but probably didn't know you could have one on your website. You can have a blog right in. If blogging is something you're interested in your practice, can just be part of your website. And another function would be a password protected area of your website, like a complete intranet, where it could have a password protected with just giving access to your staff or to whoever you want, really. You could post calendars for your staff. You could post memos, any announcements, maybe articles you want them to read. And you give staff access to read only if you want. Don't want them publishing things or messing up things. Or you can certainly give whoever you want access to also make changes and post items. And all that can be right on your website, which makes it easy for everybody to find, but the public would not have access to that. Kind of a cool feature, I think. What's about CMS websites is you can make the changes to the site from anywhere that has internet access. You don't have to be at your one computer in your office. So if the office is going to be closed tomorrow due to snow and you're at home the night before and find that out, then you can get that announcement up there right then from home. And I apologize for my voice. I've been fighting a cold for a week. Okay, the next new up-and-coming feature I wanted to show you is online payment management. I all like to make it as easy as possible for your patients to pay you. And people are gravitating to online payments for all their bills. I would then guess many of you pay some or all of your bills online. And if your patients can't pay yours that way, then this is going to reflect on their feelings about your practice. You for any payment option and offer credit cards, or they can still pay by writing a check or using their savings account, even though it's online. And pay you whenever they want. They don't have to just wait at one time a month when they used to sit and write checks. And really, sometimes just the key to getting paid at all is make it easy for them. And studies have shown that you can actually save the practice money with online bill payment. You're reducing your administrative costs. You're reducing your collection costs. That can be a big savings. And most online bill pay programs will integrate with your current practice management and accounting software. They require some additional system integration, but you probably would be able to get that information from your system imported into the bill pay rather than having to enter every patient in. The process is really pretty easy, both for the patient and the practice. It really just logs in through your site with their password that you would give them, and they can do their bill and make a payment. Payments are deposited into your bank account. Staff or your billing company can also have access to log in anytime they want to manually post payments or to view the payment history of a patient. So if a patient wanted to pay in the office or even over the phone with a credit card, then your staff could log in the same way and get this whole process started right away. Some online payment programs will even offer the patient more features than just being able to pay their bill. They can do things such as viewing your payment history, saving your credit card information, and some even allow you or patient, however you decide, to create a payment plan to pay their bills. Making it easy for patients assures more payment. The next item I'll show you, and some of you may already be using these, but the Secure Patient Forms. These are online forms that patients fill out online, and we'll see many practices who are not utilizing any type of online form, so it's still considered somewhat new. These forms allow patients to fill out their paperwork online before their appointments. The key is, again, it's convenient for the patient. They do it when they want with all of their information available to them at home. They're doing this. So obviously going to receive more accurate and complete information because they're able to have all of their information available more readily than if they were sitting there in the office without it. And you ask your clerical staff how easy it is to read the forms that are completed by hand, they'd laugh out loud because some of them are impossible to read, and that is obviously not going to happen with online forms. Everything is typed in. And to have the patient's paperwork done and for just a signature maybe right patient walks in the door. The patient forms program, this is very important, should not be transmitted through email. Forms should never be transmitted through email. Obviously, that's a big HIPAA jail assurance. The forms should live on a secure server. The only way that email should be used is to notify the practice that a patient has submitted a form. At that point, you would log in to retrieve the forms from the secure server, but never does the information go through email. There is really no such thing as secure email. And conform to the new high-tech regulations, an audit trail has to be available to denote all access to PHI contained in the forms database. So again, very important to have that secure. And a lot of times people don't need those patient forms anymore because, or that type of a patient form, because their EMR is also including or incorporating patient information, health history type forms, right to EMR. But there are other uses for this type of form that are also really popular and well-liked. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone that came to your website had a way to engage with your practice right there while they're looking at your website and ask for more information about your practice and your services? Really likes to make phone calls anymore. Don't know if you've noticed. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of one of those people. If I can do something online, it's a lot easier. And so they're going to pick up the phone necessarily to find out more about your practice. But if that form's right on your website, where they can ask for more information, they're going to be a lot more likely to do that. The type of forms often referred to as a call to action form. You may hear that term. And once you respond to them after they've made this connection, your viewer is a lot more likely to become your next new patient, especially if you respond in a timely fashion, which is obviously important. But you may have been able to do this with other practice websites, but they were able to engage with you and you responded, and that's going to win you a lot of points when they're trying to decide on a doctor. Another type of form would be the appointment request form. And this is a great way for new patients or existing patients to ask for an appointment. And this is going to go right into your appointment system, but it can give everybody a head start on getting those appointments set up. Indicate when they're available, if they want to come in Tuesday morning or Friday afternoon. They can say which doctor they want to see. They can even tell you on the form what the reason is for their visit. Again, this is why it needs to be secure if you're going to be asking any kind of PHI. And similar to the call to action form, a timely response shows you're a conscientious practice and that it's how you do business, and you're a lot more likely to get a new patient that way. They are indeed looking for a new appointment. And it's also nice for your staff because they don't have to stop every time the phone somebody looking for an appointment, they can respond when they have a free moment. Type of secure form would be the patient satisfaction survey. As you know, it's hard to get feedback from patients. All know how important it is. Both the good and the bad feedback is important to a practice. But an anonymous patient survey would give honest appraisal, really, of how everybody's doing who interacts with that patient. And once again, it's easy and convenient for the patient because it's right on your website. So none of this is really applied to any of you because your websites are perfect, but if you think your website was through the art when it was built, things change rapidly in the internet world. Just like anything else that the public sees on a regular basis, they've really come to think that certain styles and formats look modern and certain ones end up looking passe or out of date. It may be a while since you have looked at the pages of your website. Maybe you really never have. You might be amazed at what you find there, or more likely what you don't find there at this point. So as I discussed here today, there's many new features available, and there's more coming, and there's more I could go into, but hopefully these were kind of the highlights that'll give you some food for thought. Don't that your patient's first impression of you is often your website. Many are looking to find an Edsel these days, so style says a lot about you. So it's all for oops, see, now that website is not responsive. This is not a good example. Just a little humor there. Thank you all seriously, and I appreciate your time. And I guess we can open up for questions now.
Thank you. We open it up for questions. Again, you can ask questions one of two ways. You can unmute your line and ask your question verbally by pushing *6 on your phone, or you can type your question into the chat box at the lower right corner of your screen, and I can ask those questions for you. So at this time, do we have any questions? I am not seeing any in the chat box yet.
Anyone?
Everything, I guess.
Well, I'm sure I didn't.
Okay, we do have one question.
Okay.
On bill pay process, how would it alert you that a patient paid online?
Well, I mean, the usually, and again, there's many different online programs, but who is doing your bill collect now, would be the software, and then they would just know every time. Okay, that's a hard question. I would alert you. It's just how you would go every day to see who's paid their bills. The person who's normally handling that would just be where they go to look to see who's paid. It is possible that some of them have an email alert system to the person handling the bill pay. I'm sure that's not unusual. I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly. But I think it would just be more a matter of that person always knowing that that's where they're going to look to see who's paid today.
Do we have any other questions? Allow for questions. I'm not seeing or hearing any more come through. So I would like to thank you for presenting for us today, Carolyn. It was a lot of good information. I would like to thank our attendees for joining us. And everyone have a great rest of your day.